This is Stephen Hawkman 7, and I have not read Stephen Hawkman 2 through to 6, and that doesn't seem to affect this issue at all. This book is selling poorly. It is gonna be cancelled very, very soon. No doubt about that. We started off with our great Stephen Hawkman one-shot in Metal Dark Knight, and that was really good. I really liked it. It sold really well too. Then they spun it off into an ongoing with a different writer and a big name artist actually, and it has just sold badly from the word go. People like it, people really like it, but it is definitely gone away. With Stephen Hawkman, he has famously the most confused and constantly rebooted history of any comic character. And the one-shot, the Metal Dark Knight one-shot, I really liked what that did. It had him trapped in a void, and he wasn't sure who he was. And it obviously had the subtext of him, like the readers, being completely unsure which version of the character's history counts. And the idea at the end was great in my opinion. I love continuity. I am a geek for that sort of stuff. But continuity can become a problem, like in the case of Stephen Hawkman. So they decided the new direction for the character was it doesn't matter. That is the past, and the past is the past, and it's where he is at now, what happens in the present that is important. Then they spun it off into this ongoing. They got a new writer and they just abandoned that idea completely. They instead set up a new idea, and the new idea is fine as well. Yeah, it's that all these different versions, all these conflicting accounts of his history, they all count. It was the same person every time, all the time, reincarnated again and again, and sometimes even concurrently. I'm not sure how that really works. They presumably already have, or they will, cover something like that in this book. But the reincarnation idea, that is fine as well. It's good, I like that everything counts, but I do think that the other one was a much better direction for the character. Because it is Stephen Hawkman's past that is making the character a hard sell, or someone that readers are struggling with. And while they have now presented a really good fix, the reincarnation thing, it is still the case that we are focusing on his backstory, on all these convoluted different origins. Here we see his first ever life, and this is his origin, supposedly his true origin, and I am not crazy about it. It seems that for all the goodwill towards the reincarnation idea, ultimately it was just an excuse for the writer to present yet another origin for Stephen Hawkman. And this origin, it is not original. It is just an amalgamation of the Silver Surfman and Spectre and Dead Boy. Stephen Hawkman, much like the Silver Surfman, he was responsible for helping a big cosmic god thing consume lives. It is slightly different. Stephen Hawkman, he has a partner, and they actually kill people, and the god thing feasts on those deaths. I'm just going to call it Galactus Man though. And Stephen Hawkman, he starts to see a woman, and we're meant to be thinking that that is his conscience because his partner can't see her. And then he goes to loads of different planets and he's slaughtering lives for Galactus Man. And the woman, she shows up at all of them. And then on the next page, suddenly his partner can see her too. And that isn't really explained. And then Stephen Hawkman, much like the Silver Surfman, he rebels against his master and he tries to save lives in an attempt to atone for his actions. And what happens is he gets killed, he dies in the process, and instead of life flashing before his eyes, an advert flashes before his eyes for some upcoming annuals, and all of these look interesting. When I first saw this advert, I thought, I will get all of these. Then I realised they're all going to be priced at a minimum of £5, so absolutely not. And as Stephen Hawkman dies, Galactus Man swears revenge on him. And when Stephen Hawkman dies, he goes to a heaven sort of place. And he is given a chance to return to life again and again and truly atone for his actions, or pass on to the afterlife and be damned forever. And this is the bit where the reincarnation idea is explained. And this whole bit is just the Spectre's origin and Dead Boy's origin. But we also have this idea that when Stephen Hawkman has saved as many lives as he has killed, he will finally be able to die. And I didn't like that. That adds a sense of urgency to it. And it means that eventually, probably at the end of this run when the book is cancelled, Stephen Hawkman, he will just die having achieved that. And then we are at a point where it is necessary for someone else to come on board and introduce yet another complicated revision to Stephen Hawkman's backstory to get him alive again. And we end with finding out that Galactus Man, he is still out there, and the weapon to defeat him is on Krypoton, the planet where Superman is from. So I'm sure the next issue we're going to have some rubbish from Michael Bryan Benson's run on Superman involved, so no thanks. This is alright. I can see why people are liking this run. I'm mostly apprehensive about the intent and this basically just being part of the problem, I guess. A slightly misleading cover, All My Pasts Remembered. Really, it was just one of his pasts remembered. And you've got all of them on the cover and you really only saw one of them. I rate this comic 7 thumbs up.